Now I'm going to start with this side of the carb, and the very first thing we need to install is the little screen that goes in this hole here. Just insert it into it like that. Then grab a 3/16 drill bit and push down evenly. And the screen should go right to the bottom and it will sit there evenly like that. Next, you want to grab this cover and this gasket here. Make sure that this gasket goes on the cover first. And then the diaphragm will go on top of the gasket. And as you can see, they line up in the notches here. Now what you want to do is line up the hole where the screen is to this side of the cover. And then lock in the notches. You're going to know it's locked in because it won't move once it's in. And on this cover here, it's the screws with the fat heads that go on. The screws with the thinner heads go on the other cover over here. Now what you want to do is just snug all the screws evenly, so kind of crisscross like that. This is to make sure the cover goes on nice and even, and this will make sure we have no fuel or air leaks. And that's good for this side. Now we're going to do the side with the metering diaphragm. First thing you want to do on this side is insert the spring in here. Then you'll need the lever and the pin. Insert it into it like that. Now grab the needle, insert it into the lever like this, push the pin out a bit. Now make sure that this screw is loose a bit so you have room to put the pin under it. And now what you want to do is insert the whole thing into the hole, and you want the spring to go against a little bump underneath the lever there where my finger is. Once you got it in like that, hold it with your finger. And I'll tighten up this screw so that everything doesn't go flying out on you. Don't over tighten it because you can easily strip the threads. Also, if you install a new lever, you want to make sure that the level is approximately how you see it here. The tip here is pretty well level with the sides of the carb. If you bend the lever up, the motor is going to run richer. If the lever is bent lower, it's going to run leaner. So we'll try like that, see what happens. Next step here is to install the metering diaphragm gasket, which will go on like this. Always remember that the gasket goes on first. Before we install the metering diaphragm, I want to show an important feature of the lever. If you look closely, there's a little groove here. And you'll notice there's a groove in the metal part of the metering diaphragm here as well. Now I'll show you on the old lever how this is supposed to go in. You have to lock it into the lever like that. Now I'm going to grab the metering diaphragm and insert it into the lever. So you want to make sure that it's hooked on there properly. Now you can insert the metering diaphragm cover. Only goes on one way, as you can see here. Now you want to tighten up this cover in the same sequence you did with the other cover. Get it on there nice and even. So once you've got it rebuilt like that, she's ready to go. Hopefully we won't run into any other major problems. Now before I install the carb, I'm going to put a new impulse line. I'm just going to pull it out because it's loose in there. If it's tight, you can reuse it. And don't yank on it because you could break the plastic connector down there. All that line. And I'm also going to replace the fuel line with a nice new piece of Tygon. And it's 7/64 inside diameter. Install the carb, make sure your gasket here is still good. Next thing you want to do is grab the throttle lever like that and insert it into the lever like that. Then line up the two holes of the carb to the studs on the manifold. Now you're going to have to run the impulse line under the connector here and then hook it up to this connector over here. Make sure it's on there tight. Next thing we're going to do is reconnect the fuel line to the fuel tank here. And push it in as far as you can. Be careful not to break the plastic connector. What you do is hook up the choke linkage to the choke mechanism on the carb here, just by inserting the linkage in the hole over here. just like that. And now you want to put the cover down. You can check and see if the choke works good. And that's good like that. Just want to insert this washer over there. You may want to close the choke so the nuts don't fall in the motor. And now tighten up the two nuts evenly. Now the last bolt we need to put in is the Allen bolt that goes through here. Okay, so now I'm done putting it back together for now. I'm going to leave this open to try it out because I'm going to put a bit of gas in the carb to get it going because it's so hard to pull over, and hopefully she'll run. Let's hope so. He drops the gas. Seems to run really good now. I've got the screw set at approximately 1 turnout for the H screw, which is the high-speed screw that you adjust with throttle wide open, and I've got the L screw adjusted at approximately 3/4 of a turnout to 1 turnout. But you know it runs good. You can stick the air filter back on. Now this chainsaw here is going to make a nice addition to the chainsaw collector out there.